The resources provided in these webinars does not constitute endorsement by the Department of the U.S. Army, U.S. Air Force, Vermont National Guard, or Vermont Military Family Programs of the organization's products and/or services contained therein. Further, Vermont Military Family Programs assumes no responsibility for consequences resulting from use of the products/services provided by the organizations/resources listed. Vermont Military Family Programs makes every effort to present our clients with reputable resources. We cannot guarantee the validity of said resources, and use of such resources is voluntary.
Holiday bills, now what? My name is Megan Sather. I'm the personal financial counselor for the Vermont National Guard. And this time of year, everybody's had fun spending money, and now we're going to talk about how do we pay for all of these bills that are coming in. But let's start a little bit with a little bit about what a personal financial counselor can do for you. If you've never been to see a counselor before, some of the things that I can do, I can help you with budgeting, reading credit reports, savings and investing. Really the only thing I'm not allowed to do is that I can't give you advice. So I can't tell you what stocks to buy. I can't tell you where to put your money, but anything else is fair game, and we can sit down and talk about finances. So let's get into it. Whenever we talk about money, I always like to start off with the financial planning pyramid. And so why we do that is we want to make sure that you have a solid financial base when it comes to building your financial plan. So we start at the management level, which is the bottom of your pyramid. And in there we have adequate income, spending plan, wise use of credit, and insurance. So adequate income, we can all assume we don't get paid what we think we should, but we do get paid enough to pay the basics. Food in the fridge, gas in the car, roof over your head. Then we move on to a spending plan which has a wise use of credit. And the reason why we say a wise use of credit is because if you do not have a wise use of credit and you have a spending plan, then it's not going to help. And then we go into insurance. And insurance is really, you have car insurance, you have medical insurance. If you own a home, you have homeowner's insurance. But a lot of people don't think about renter's insurance. And renter's insurance is great because it doesn't just cover your stuff, it covers your stuff no matter where it is. So renter's insurance covers your laptop if somebody breaks into your car and steals it. Or if you're on deployment and somebody steals your laptop, that's covered. If your stuff is in storage, if your stuff is at mom and dad's house, it doesn't matter where it is, your renter's insurance will cover it. So it's definitely something you want to think about and make sure, and I'm going to say honestly, $30, $40 a month for renter's insurance is definitely worth it. The next level that we move on to is the savings level. And we have 3 savings accounts listed here. The first one is an emergency fund, and everybody's heard about an emergency fund. And experts say you should have anywhere from $500 to 3 years of living expenses. I'm going to tell you right now, 3 years of living expenses in an emergency fund is a whole bunch of cash that's not doing a lot for you. So I always tell people, if you've got at least $500 in your emergency fund, that's a great start. You really want to shoot for 3 months of living expenses as a minimum, and then decide what makes you feel comfortable. So I have some people that $10,000 is the minimum that they have to have in an account and they feel safe. Other people are good with 500. So finances are really personal, but as long as you have a good foundation in your emergency fund, meaning that you can cover the basics, then that's as much as you need to have. Then we move on to the 2 other savings accounts. There's a reserve savings account, which is for things that happen, but they don't happen every month, so you can budget for them. Things like holidays. So now that we're at the beginning of the year, you can start saving for the holidays now. All of your banks and credit unions have holiday savings accounts. And what that means is they won't let you have the money until November. So they try to save you from yourself. And so that's a reserve account. Maybe you like to pay 6 months of your car insurance all at once. What you do is every month you put that money into your reserve account. When the bill comes, then you just pay it. So a reserve account, unlike an emergency fund, the money goes in and it comes back out again. And then a goal getter, that's just basic. You want to go on vacation, you want to buy a house, you want to buy a car. You should have 3 separate savings accounts, and your bank will let you have 3 separate savings accounts, because something happens, and it's magical. When you put vacation money and emergency money together in the same savings account, they all become vacation money. I don't know how it happens, but it's magical and it happens. So separate your savings accounts out so that you know what each one is for. And then the last part of our pyramid is when we get into the investment level. So that's when you start investing in mutual funds, start planning for retirement, buying a house, buying assets, because you've already got that solid foundation of your financial plan. Once you have this, what we need to talk about is a budget. So everybody loves that word, budget. They tried calling it a spending plan to make it a little more user-friendly. Either way, whatever you want to call it, it's not restrictive. It's just so that you know where your money's going. So 4 things we have to know. You have to know how much money you're spending on your living expenses, how much money's coming in income, how much money's going out in debt, and how much money you have going into savings and investing. So for a lot of people, income you already know because it's how much money gets direct deposited. Your debts, you already know how much you're paying out to your debts. And then savings and investing, usually those for the most part are automatic. So for a lot of people, the hardest one to come up with is your living expenses. One of the easiest ways, or one of the most accurate ways to do it, is to keep a receipt for everything you spend in a month. And I'm going to tell you that's fun for about 2 weeks, and then it's not fun anymore. So what you may want to look into is getting a spending tracker. And so what spending trackers do is they show you where you're spending your money. Your banks and credit unions have one, your credit cards all have them, and that will give you an idea of where your money's going, because you can't have an accurate budget if you don't know where the money's going. Once you have those numbers, really the ideal breakdown of a budget is 70-20-10. So no more than 70% of your income should be spent on living expenses. In that, we include a mortgage. Even though a mortgage is considered a debt, you need to have a roof over your head. So mortgage goes into that living expense of 70%. No more than 20% of your income should be spent on debt. Credit cards, car payments, student loans, personal loans. And then you should be actively saving and or investing a minimum of 10% of your income. And that's the ideal breakdown. Now, nobody's going to be perfect. But what they found is that if your debt is more than 20%, that extra money starts coming out of your savings and investing. So that's why you don't want to get more than 20% of your income going to debt, because then it starts to become a struggle. And that's why we're going to talk about ways to pay off that debt, because we don't want you to have debt that high. So let's talk about credit, because that's what we're trying to pay off. Let's talk about good things to use credit for and not so good things to use credit for. So wise uses of credit are for the most part to buy assets. So buying a house. Student loans are considered good debt because you are supposed to be increasing your income. Emergencies, for some people, while they're building up that emergency fund, maybe they're using a credit card as their emergency fund, which is fine as long as you're actively building that emergency fund. And then large planned purchases. So let's say you want to get yourself a brand new washer and dryer. So you go to the big home improvement store and they're doing 6 months same as cash. 0% interest, 6 months. We call that free money because you don't have to pay any interest on it. So if you buy that new washer and dryer, if you can pay it off in 6 months, that's an awesome deal. If you can't pay it off in 6 months, what they do is at the end of the 6 months, they take the interest that you would have been paying from day one and they add it all to the debt. So if you're using credit for large planned purchases and you're doing that 6 months same as cash, just make sure that you can pay it off in that amount of time. Things not to use credit for: impulse purchases, everyday purchases. So if you're buying your groceries on your credit card and making the minimum payment, that is not a wise use of credit. Status spending: if you are one half of a couple, you know what retaliatory spending is. All of those things are just not good uses of credit because you don't want to pay interest on those things. So we really don't want to put consumables on credit. And here's why. So let's say you want to go get yourself a $5,000 flat screen TV. You go to the big electronics stores, use their credit card at 18% interest, which is actually pretty good at the moment. So you get this brand new TV, it's on the wall in your house. You get the bill in the mail, they start asking you to pay $100 a month, 2% of your balance, so your payments start off at $100 a month. Easy payments. Got a big screen TV on your wall. If you make the minimum payments on that credit card and you never charge another penny on it ever, it will actually take you 39 years to pay off that TV. And on top of the $5,000 charge, you're going to pay $13,396 in interest. So you are going to pay $18,000 for that TV. And you're not going to have it in 39 years. I can guarantee it right now because the technology is going to be obsolete. So let's say instead you get the bill in the mail and you double the minimum payment. So you pay 4% of the balance. So your payments start off at $200 a month. Instead of 39 years, it's now going to take you 11.2, which still sounds pretty awful, but instead of $13,000 in interest, you're going to pay $2,800 in interest. That is a much better number. You don't have to just double minimum payments. Any extra money that you can send towards your credit cards works. You got an extra $10, send it to your credit card every single month. You'll pay it off faster because they've made enough money off of us in interest that we need to pay these credit cards off faster. Okay? And when we're talking about paying off these credit cards, let's talk about the different ways that you can pay them off. So there's two theories out there. One of them is called a debt snowball, and one of them is called a debt avalanche. And really what it is you have to decide how you want to go after your bills. And you have two choices. You can go after the smallest debt, or you can go after the highest interest rate. And those are the two ways to tackle any sort of revolving credit like a credit card. So a debt snowball is where you go after paying the smallest balance first. The debt avalanche is where you go after paying the highest interest rate first. So the reason why debt snowball is around is because for the most part, debt snowball, when you do that, you're not saving the most money. So you're not going after the highest interest rate. But what you are doing is you're trying to achieve something very quickly. And for a lot of people, when they see things happening, that helps them stick with it. Those are the people that I say debt snowball. Because if you can go after a $200 balance on your credit card and pay it off, that will help you get motivated to keep doing that. But if you want to go strictly financial, save me the most money there is, then you want a debt avalanche. And all that does is it goes after the highest interest rate, and then once you pay that bill off, you roll that money over to the next highest interest rate. And that's all a debt avalanche is. So it's just two different ways to pay off your bills. And then there's also debt consolidation, which we're going to talk a little bit about later. And that's if you've got so much credit card debt that it's just too much. And so you do have some options of getting assistance to help pay that off. So payment comparison tools. So if you want to see how long it's going to take you to pay off these debts with these different debt avalanche and debt snowball, there's a lot of free payment comparison tools out there. The biggest one that I'm going to show you is PowerPay. And that's at the website that's on your screen is powerpay.org. NerdWallet also does a lot of really good bill pay. And if you've never been on NerdWallet, they have tons of financial comparison tools and trackers and all kinds of really good stuff. And it's all free. Military OneSource has some great payment comparison tools also. Your banks and credit unions do. And then all of your credit cards on your statements, they have a payoff time. So they actually show you if you make the minimum payment on the balance that you have now, they'll show you how long it's going to take to pay that debt off. So all of those are really great payment comparison tools just to see where you're going. And so the one that I was talking about, the PowerPay, what I'm showing you on the screen right now is I went into PowerPay and I put Amazon, Discover, ABC Bank, two different ABC banks in there for debts. And so I gave everybody a balance and an interest rate, and then this payoff chart shows us highest interest, shortest term, lowest balance, and then without doing any sort of power pay on it at all. And really what power pay means is when you pay off one debt, you take that money and instead of putting it back in your budget and spending it, you roll it over to the next debt. And that's all power pay is. So this Amazon debt that I put in here, if I did the highest interest rate, it's going to take me 1 year and 9 months. If I do, when I pay off the bill and just make the regular payments to it, it's actually going to take me 2 years and 7 months. And so that's already saving me money just by going after it as the highest interest rate. I went in here, Discover's got 2 years and 4 months for highest interest rate. If we don't do anything, it takes 4 years to pay it off. And so this is a great tool that you can go in and put your debts and see what's going to make a difference. And then the next one here, it shows you the payoff options. So it shows you the time, the amount paid, the interest paid, and then interest rate has the highest savings out of all of them. You can go into shortest term. That one has the least amount of savings, but that's the one that you go after if you need that motivation to keep paying your bills. So that's why a lot of people choose highest interest rate, because it'll save you the most money, but shortest term may be the option that you need. So then once you go in there and you determine how you're going to pay these bills off, what you can do is a payoff schedule, and you can post it right on your fridge. And so what it shows you is the month, how much money goes to each one of your debts, and then as it pays one debt off, it rolls that over to the other one. And so you can automatically see how much money you have to pay to whomever, and put it right on the fridge. It's easy to see. And then you can see these dollar figures start going down, which is an awesome feeling when you start paying those bills off. So I mentioned that we were going to talk about debt management. So for people that get to the point where they can't handle the minimum payments on their credit cards, the step that is before bankruptcy is what's called debt management. And a debt management company, what they do is they call all your creditors, they renegotiate your interest rates and your monthly payments into one low payment, which I know sounds like a great idea, but caveat to that, yes, they usually get 0% interest, but if you go into a debt management program, first, a reputable debt management program won't let you enter it unless you're at least 3 months behind on all your bills. So what that means is your credit is crap. Debt management is going to help your credit get better, but you have to be behind. So if you're thinking, well, I want to go to debt management to get 0% interest, you need to realize it's going to hurt your credit. Because it gets reported to the credit bureau that you are not paying as agreed. Because you're not making the minimum payment, you're making a different payment. And then what happens is every month you send that debt management company one lump sum, and they pay all your bills for you. They require that you close all of your credit cards, and you are not allowed to take on any new debt while you're in a debt management program. But like I said, it is the next step, but it is the step before bankruptcy. And for some people, bankruptcy is the only way out, and that is an option. But a lot of people like to try debt management first. So it's out there. Got some listings on here, some websites for you for the Financial Counseling Association and the National Foundation for Credit Counseling. Both of those can help you find debt management companies. Some of the questions that you want to make sure you ask, there's going to be a monthly fee because everybody has to get paid, but it shouldn't be outrageous. I mean, we're talking $50, $60 a month. You shouldn't be paying hundreds, because all they're doing is electronically paying your bills for you. So there shouldn't be really high monthly fees. Do you have to sign a contract or any written agreement, which is fine as long as you understand what you're signing. And then always check the Better Business Bureau for reviews, because they'll tell you whether or not they have any sort of active cases on any companies. But just make sure that you totally understand what you're getting into with debt management. And if you want to sit down with me and talk it through, definitely an option. And we can talk through all your different options. So this slide says it all. The first and the hardest step is writing it all down in one place. And that can just be on a sheet of lined paper. All you need to get together are your monthly payments, your balances, and your interest rates. And all of those things are going to come on your statements. So really, that's the hardest part, is just putting it down on paper, because nobody wants to see it written down on paper. But once you write it down, then you can start making a plan forward. That's all my contact information. I'm really quick by email. I can do online appointments, phone appointments, in-person appointments, whatever you would like. Just give me a call, email, and we can sit down and talk about paying off your bills or any other financial questions.
Hey everybody, my name is Brian Stoudemire and I'm the Military OneSource Consultant for the state of Vermont. And I'm really happy to be here and just really provide you all with some supplemental information, resources, and benefits that may assist you with managing your holiday debt. Megan did such a great job. I'm going to try to provide a little bit more that maybe will help you out. So Military OneSource is your 24/7, 365 connection to all things to help you lead your best military life. Eligibility for Military OneSource is from the time your service member signed up for the military service, all the way through 365 days post-separation from the military, no matter why you separate from the military. And if there's any DEERS eligible dependents in their world, which is the Defense Enrollment Eligibility Reporting System, they are also eligible for all our programs, resources, and benefits through Military OneSource. We really do have a lot to offer, so please come and check us out. And some of the things I'm just going to fill in here now with is that, Megan provided some great information about how to kind of climb yourself back out of that holiday debt. And Military OneSource has some resources and benefits to assist with that. One of those is our general debt management techniques. It's a great article, and what it does is it's gonna outline how to set a realistic, flexible goal, and how to establish an emergency savings fund, right? So that maybe you don't have to go into debt to meet those holiday demands in the future. Okay. It also suggests in that article, it's going to suggest reviewing insurance coverage as well as all current financial responsibilities, and it explains the importance of coming up with a debt management plan that is sustainable and livable, right? Something that's accurate for you and your family and where you're at and what you need. Okay. Additionally, it's going to explain the importance of understanding your rights on credit reporting and debt collection and consolidation. It's very important to service members and their families, as debt can adversely affect security clearance levels. If you didn't know that, take note of that, because that's an important one. What else do we have out there? We got a holiday spending quiz to help you just kind of evaluate where you spent the most at, to help you look at maybe what you need to do for the holidays of 2024. Okay. And just overall, remember, if you did overspend during the holidays this year, it's time to get your finances back on track. By setting some goals and committing to them, you can pay down your debt, rebuild your savings, and gain control over your finances once again. It won't be too awful hard, but you do have to commit to this 100% to make it happen. Another great resource to aid with getting yourself back on track is the Get Back in the Black, Free Yourself from Holiday Debt podcast. It's a great podcast that Military OneSource has out there. So go ahead and definitely view that podcast, because it will provide you with some nice little tidbits and tools to assist you with it. Some other tools for independent learning is the Managing Your Money Workbook and financial calculators, not financial counselors, financial calculators. And we have some great financial calculators available for you. One is, should you consolidate your loans? How soon can I eliminate my debt? How long will it take to pay off my credit cards? How long will it take to pay off my loan if you took a loan out for something? And how much will my loan payments be? As well as how much can I afford to borrow? These are all some of the great calculators we have available for you to check us out. So remember that all the benefits and resources that I put up for you today do require a Member Connect login at the Military OneSource website. You can find Military OneSource website at militaryonesource.mil. You can access it 24/7, 365, no matter where you are in the world. Again, that's militaryOneSource.mil. You can also reach us and our benefits and resources with a live person on the other end of the telephone at 1-800-342-9647. 24/7, 365. Please reach out. We're here to assist you and your family in leading your best military life. Thank you so much for your time. And definitely always reach out to Megan here at Vermont, within the Vermont National Guard. She's a significant wealth of a resource and benefit for you, so check it out. Thank you so much, and hope you had a great holidays, and we look forward to seeing you in the future.
Thank you for joining us. We hope you have enjoyed this presentation. If you have any questions, feel free to contact us at 888-607-8773 or on our Facebook page, www.facebook.com/kitchenspoonsandcombatboots.